Hello and welcome to the Sunday School classroom. Today we're going to hear a story about how the people rebuilt the temple. But first, let's play a little game. This game is called King Says. It's kind of like Simon Says. So whatever the king says, you do it, okay? All right, the first one is the king says, scratch your back. The king says, blink your eyes. The king says, jump up and down. The king says, put your hands up high. The king says, high five a friend or sister or brother, a parent, or me. The king says, touch your toes. The king says, nod your head. The king says, do the robot. The king says, swim. The king says, chomp your teeth. The king says, pat your head. The king says, touch your elbow. The king says, stick out your tongue. The king says, sit down if you're standing. Well, let's go ahead and get started with our Bible story. Well, the people were back home and rebuilding the temple so they could worship God there. They were building and building and building, but then the neighbors around them wanted them to stop. Those neighbors were not happy. By this time, King Cyrus, the king whose heart God moved so that he let them return home, was no longer king. King Darius was king now. Well, the people sent word to King Darius that those folks rebuilding the temple should be stopped. They didn't want them to rebuild the temple. So let's find out what King Darius did. King Darius searched through the old scrolls to see what the records showed. Well, he found one. He found a scroll that said that King Cyrus had, in fact, allowed the people to go back home and rebuild, and that their work should be paid for from the royal treasury. So now King Darius made a decree. Let's read what King Darius decreed in Ezra chapter 6, verses 6 through 8, or parts of that. It says, keep away. Let the work on this house of God alone. Let the Jews rebuild this house. The cost is to be paid to these men in full from the royal revenue, the tribute of the province from beyond the river, whatever is needed. Wow. So King Darius found a scroll that told about the decree that King Cyrus had made, and now King Darius has made the same decree. They were able to rebuild the temple. So that's exactly what they did. No one stopped them anymore. Finally, the temple was rebuilt. The people worshiped God there. Let's sing a little song to help us remember that we can trust the Lord our God, even when the enemy tried to stop the good things that God was doing in allowing the people to return home and rebuild the temple so that they could worship him there. Even though the devil and the people tried to stop that, we can trust that God's going to help us through even difficult situations. Okay, the song is called I Can Trust the Lord My God. I can trust the Lord my God each and every day, morning, noon, and night, morning, noon, and night, morning, noon, and night. Yes, I can trust the Lord. Well, that song came from the Lifeway Gospel Project curriculum. And I hope you've had a good time today in the online Sunday school class. I'll see you next week. Goodbye.